Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. Ladies and gentlemen, the most powerful tool you have is not in your hands. It stips in your head. But here stips the catch. If you don't control it, it will control you. Ladies and gentlemen, every action you take, every habit you form, every result you get, all of it starts in the same place, your mind. The mind is like a garden. If you don't plant flowers, weeds will grow automatically. And in life, those weeds are fear, doubt, procrastination, and bad habits. So the question is not, do you have a mind? The question is, who sets in charge? The mind is like a fortress. If you don't stand guard at its gates, anything and everything will walk right in. Every day 1,000 influences are trying to enter. Some are harmless, some are helpful, but many are harmful. And here's the thing, you don't get to decide if the world is going to try to plant weeds in your mental garden. It will. Negativity doesn't knock before it comes in, it shows up uninvited. Complaints, criticism, fear, gossip, they slip in quietly if you aren't paying attention. Guarding the door of your mind means becoming intentional about what you allow inside. Because what you let in will eventually take root, and what takes root will grow, and what grows will shape your decisions, your habits, and ultimately your destiny. You see, the mind is impressionable. It's constantly recording. Every conversation leaves a mark. Every book you read leaves an imprint. Every show you watch leaves a trace. The problem is, most people never filter these inputs. They think thoughts are random, when in reality, most of them are simply the echoes of what's been allowed in. You watch hours of meaningless content, and then wonder why you feel unmotivated. You spend time around people who complain all day, and then wonder why you start to see problems everywhere. This isn't magic, it's cause and effect. What goes in will eventually come out. Guarding your mind isn't about building walls so high that nothing can reach you. It's about becoming a wise gatekeeper. If something builds you, teaches you, or uplifts you, open the gate wide. Let it pour in. But if something weakens your resolve, diminishes your belief, or distracts you from your purpose, keep it outside. This is not about arrogance, it's about protection. You wouldn't let just anyone walk into your home and rearrange the furniture, so why would you let just anyone walk into your mind and rearrange your beliefs? Jim Rohn used to say, stand guard at the door of your mind. It's one of the most valuable disciplines you can ever develop. Because once a wrong idea takes root, it can take years to pull it out. It's easier to keep it from coming in than to remove it later. Just like you wouldn't eat food without knowing where it came from, you shouldn't consume information without knowing its source. If it's not nourishing you, it's poisoning you. Think about it, every day you're in a mental battle. The world is trying to convince you of limits, trying to make you believe you're not capable, trying to distract you from your goals. If you don't filter out the noise, you'll start living by the rules of other people's fears instead of your own vision. And once that happens, you're no longer living, you're simply reacting. So start setting mental boundaries. Be selective with your conversations. Be intentional with your reading. Be purposeful with your listening. This doesn't mean avoiding the world, it means choosing the world you allow inside. One uplifting conversation can set your mind on fire with ideas. One powerful book can shift your perspective for life. One voice of encouragement can give you the courage to take the next step. But it works the other way too. One careless remark, one toxic influence, 1 hour of empty distraction can steal momentum you've been building for months. Your future is being shaped by the ideas you allow today. The thoughts you plant now are the actions you'll take later. So guard the door, protect it with vigilance. Decide what enters, because if you don't control the flow will control you, and it rarely flows toward excellence on its own. The garden of the mind will always grow something. Make sure it's what you want to harvest. What you feed your mind is just as important as what you feed your body. The thoughts you think, the beliefs you hold, the attitudes you carry, all of them are shaped by the information, people, and environments you expose yourself to. If you surround yourself with wisdom, inspiration, and challenge, your mind will naturally start producing stronger, clearer, more purposeful thoughts. But if you allow constant exposure to gossip, complaint, and mediocrity, your mental state will reflect it. Just like the body cannot stay healthy on a steady diet of junk food, the mind cannot stay sharp on a diet of negative, trivial, or destructive inputs. Every day, you are in control of the channels you tune into. You can choose to spend hours scrolling through meaningless updates, or you can choose to listen to voices that teach you something valuable. You can decide to be in rooms where problems are multiplied, or in rooms where solutions are created. You can read words that lift your spirit, or words that tear down your confidence. The remarkable thing is the choice is always yours, even if it doesn't feel that way at first. Jim Rohn often reminded us that you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's not only true socially, it's true mentally. Your mental diet is made up of the ideas, attitudes, and habits of the people and materials you give your attention to. If you spend your days around people who see possibilities, you'll begin to notice them too. If you spend them with people who dwell on obstacles, you'll soon start believing they are all around you. Influence is subtle, but it is powerful. If you want to raise your thinking, you must raise your inputs. That means reading books that stretch your perspective, listening to talks that push you beyond your comfort zone, having conversations that challenge you to clarify your beliefs, choosing mentors whose lives reflect the results you want. It means being deliberate about every voice that has access to your attention, because your attention is the gateway to your thoughts, and your thoughts determine your direction. This also requires you to limit, or sometimes eliminate, exposure to voices that weaken you. That doesn't mean you cut everyone out of your life, but it does mean you adjust the level of influence they have. You can love someone without adopting their mindset. You can listen without accepting. You can care without copying. Your mental state is too important to hand over to just anyone. Think of it this way. Every idea you take in is like a seed. Some seeds grow into strong trees that produce fruit for years. Others grow into weeds that choke out everything good. Your job is to plant the right seeds and pull out the wrong ones before they spread. If you take in material that fuels your ambition, strengthens your character, and builds your skills, your life will naturally reflect those qualities. If you take in material that feeds fear, stirs resentment, or encourages laziness, those traits will eventually show up in your actions. You can't always control what you encounter, but you can control what you consume. When you start being intentional about your mental inputs, you will notice changes in how you feel, how you respond, and how you see the world. Clarity will replace confusion. Confidence will replace hesitation. Solutions will replace complaints. This is the compounding effect of consistently feeding your mind with quality. So ask yourself, each day, what am I putting into my mind right now? Is it making me stronger or weaker? Will it move me closer to my vision or further away? Over time, the answers will tell the story of your life, because the mind, like a well-fed garden, will grow exactly what you plant. Choose wisely, because you are not just consuming content, you are shaping the person you are becoming. Most people live on autopilot, letting thoughts drift in and out without ever asking where they came from or where they might lead. Awareness is the first step toward mastery. You cannot take charge of something you don't even notice. Thoughts are like shadows. They move quickly, often unnoticed, but they are always influencing your feelings and actions. If you want to direct your life, you must first shine a light on what's happening inside your head. It's a curious thing. We spend years learning about the world, but very little time learning about our own mind. We know the names of distant cities, but not the patterns that run our decisions. We understand the rules of a game, but not the rules of our thinking. This is why so many people feel stuck. They fight symptoms without ever addressing the cause, because the cause is hidden in plain sight, their daily thoughts. Awareness means pausing to observe without judgment. It means catching yourself when you start a familiar mental loop. I can't do this. Things never work out for me, or I'll try later. You ask, why am I thinking this? Is it based on fact or habit? Does it lead me forward or hold me back? Most of the time you'll discover that the thought is simply an old recording, a script written years ago by experiences, fears, or someone else's opinions. It feels true because it's been repeated, not because it's accurate. Jim Rohn often said that you must take a mental inventory. That means deliberately checking the quality of your thoughts, just like you'd check the quality of your products if you ran a store. If the shelves were full of damaged goods, you wouldn't keep selling them. In the same way, if your mind is full of broken beliefs, you can't expect healthy results. The benefit of awareness is that it creates choice. When you see a thought clearly, you can decide whether to accept it, question it, or replace it. Without awareness, you have no choice. You simply react. Life becomes a series of automatic responses instead of deliberate decisions. That's the difference between being a passenger and being the driver. The driver sees the road ahead. The passenger only sees where they end up. Developing awareness requires practice. Start by setting aside moments during the day to notice what's on your mind. Maybe you're standing in line, sitting at your desk, or driving in silence. Instead of reaching for your phone or distracting yourself, turn your attention inward. What are you thinking right now? Where did that thought come from? How does it make you feel? Does it create energy or drain it? You can also write things down. A simple journal can reveal patterns you never saw before. Maybe you think about failure more than success. Maybe you focus on what's missing instead of what's possible. Once you see the pattern, you can start shifting it. You can replace "I'm not ready" with "I'm learning every day." You can replace "I have no options" with "I'm looking for solutions." It's not about lying to yourself, it's about giving your mind a direction that serves you. Awareness turns the invisible into the visible. It allows you to catch negativity before it takes root, to redirect energy before it's wasted, to choose actions that match your values instead of your moods. And the more you practice it, the faster you'll catch unhelpful thoughts. Over time, your mind becomes a place you manage with purpose instead of a space where anything goes. Life changes the moment you start paying attention to what's going on inside. Because once you see clearly, you can choose wisely, and choice, not chance, is what determines the course of your future. The mind is an incredible problem-solving machine, but it will only work on the assignments you give it. If you feed it poor questions, you'll get poor answers. Ask, "Why does nothing work for me?" And it will dig through your past to find every disappointment, every failure, and every reason to prove you're right. But ask, "How can I make this work?" And it will begin searching for steps, ideas, and opportunities you may have overlooked. The quality of your questions decides the quality of your thinking. Most people don't realize they are asking themselves questions all day long. Some are small, like "What do I want for lunch?" Others are big, like "What am I doing with my life?" But the dangerous ones are the questions that weaken you without you even noticing. Why am I always unlucky? Why do I keep messing things up? What's the point of trying? These are like poison seeds. They grow into hopelessness, hesitation, and inaction. Jim Rohn often taught that the mind responds to whatever you tell it to focus on. If you direct it toward limitations, it will build you a detailed case for why you can't succeed. If you direct it toward possibilities, it will go to work finding ways to make them real. Your job is to give your mind better instructions through better questions. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" try, "What can I learn from this?" That shift takes you from being a victim to being a student. Instead of asking, "When will this be over?" try, "What can I do right now to move forward?" That takes you from waiting to acting. Instead of asking, "Who will help me?" try, "How can I help myself first?" That builds self-reliance before dependence. The beauty of a well-crafted question is that it pulls your thinking upward. It forces you to consider solutions you might not have seen. It opens your mind to new strategies and fresh perspectives. And when you keep asking the right questions, you keep your mind working in your favor, even when times are hard. But asking better questions takes practice. The old, limiting ones will try to return because they've been repeated for years. You have to catch them and replace them deliberately. The moment you hear yourself asking, why me? Switch it to, why not me? The instant you think, can I really do this? Change it to, what will it take to do this? With time, the new questions become your default, and your mind begins to automatically search for solutions instead of excuses. It's also important to ask questions that create clarity. What exactly do I want is more powerful than I wish things were different. What's the first step I can take is more useful than this is too overwhelming. Vague questions lead to vague answers, but specific questions lead to specific actions. Think of your mind like a skilled worker waiting for instructions. If you give it vague orders, it will waste time. If you give it destructive orders, it will produce destructive results. But if you give it clear, constructive, and challenging orders, it will surprise you with how much it can accomplish. Every breakthrough in your life will begin with a question that pointed your thinking in the right direction. Every change in direction began with a question that made you see a different path. So decide today that you will not ask questions that keep you small. You will ask the ones that make you grow, the ones that make you act, and the ones that make you believe. Because the right question asked at the right time can change everything. Discipline is the bridge between intention and accomplishment. Without it, even the best ideas remain unrealized, and the grandest dreams fade into regret. The mind will always search for comfort before challenge, ease before effort. Left unchecked, it will wait for the perfect mood, the perfect moment, the perfect set of circumstances before taking action. The problem is, those perfect conditions rarely arrive. If you want results, you must learn to move, whether you feel like it or not. The mind loves to negotiate. It will tell you, start tomorrow. You deserve a break. It's too hard right now. And if you listen, days turn into weeks, and weeks turn into years, with little progress to show. Discipline steps in and says, we act now. We follow the plan. Feelings can come later. It's not about being harsh with yourself. It's about being committed to what you said you would do, even when the excitement is gone. Jim Rohn often explained that there are two kinds of pain you can choose from: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. Waking up early to work on your goals is uncomfortable, but missing out on the life you could have lived is unbearable. Making that sales call might make you nervous, but looking back and realizing you never built the business you wanted will hurt far more. The disciplined mind understands that action produces energy, not the other way around. You don't wait to feel motivated before you start. You start and motivation follows. Think of a cold engine. It doesn't warm up until you turn it on and let it run. In the same way, your focus and drive often appear after you begin, not before. This is why routines are powerful. They remove the decision-making process from the moment. If you decide every morning at 6 a.m. you'll exercise, then at 6 a.m. you exercise, no debate, no bargaining. When the habit is set, the mind adjusts to follow. Over time, you stop relying on bursts of inspiration and start relying on consistent action. Discipline also means doing the little things well. People think it's only about big moves. Starting a company, writing a book, mastering a skill, but it's also in the small, repeated choices. Reading a few pages instead of scrolling aimlessly, practicing for 10 minutes instead of doing nothing, eating one healthy meal instead of giving in completely. Each act trains your mind to obey intention rather than impulse. The challenge is that discipline is often invisible in the short term. You might go to the gym for a week and see no change. You might save money for a month and feel no difference. That's where most quit, because they expect instant results. But discipline works like compound interest. Little deposits over time create massive returns later. The disciplined person doesn't ask, do I feel like it? They ask, is it the right thing to do? That question bypasses the emotions of the moment and connects directly to the vision of the future. When you act from that place, you begin to trust yourself. You prove again and again that you can count on you, and that trust is one of the greatest rewards of discipline. Life will always present distractions, excuses, and temptations to delay. But the one who chooses discipline over comfort gains an edge in every area, in health, in business, in relationships, in personal growth. Because once you train your mind to obey your decisions instead of your moods, there is almost nothing you cannot achieve. And that is the true power of discipline. It frees you from the prison of waiting for the perfect feeling and places you firmly in the driver's seat of your own destiny. The mind needs direction the same way a ship needs a compass. Without a clear target, it drifts, wandering wherever circumstances push it. Visualization gives that compass. It paints a vivid picture of where you want to go, so your thoughts, actions, and energy align toward that destination. When you close your eyes and truly see the result you desire, not as a vague wish, but as a detailed, living scene, you begin to instruct your mind to work toward making it real. The brain responds to images with incredible loyalty. It will search for ways to close the gap between where you are and where you have told it you belong. Affirmation is the second half of this process. While visualization programs the mind through pictures, affirmation programs it through language. Every day you speak to yourself in a constant stream of silent sentences. If those sentences are full of doubt, fear, or limitation, they will weaken you. But if they are full of conviction, confidence, and purpose, they will strengthen you. Words are seeds. Say "I can't" often enough and your actions will reflect it. Say "I will" with consistency, and your behavior will start to follow. Jim Rohn often said, "You cannot talk defeat and expect victory." The phrases you repeat create the blueprint your subconscious uses to build your life. When you declare, "I am disciplined," you are not pretending. You are setting a standard your mind will aim to meet. When you say, "I am focused," you are not ignoring distractions. You are commanding yourself to give attention where it matters most. Over time, these declarations shape the way you see yourself, and the way you see yourself shapes the way you act. The most effective visualization is specific. Don't just picture success. See the exact room you're in when it happens, the expressions on faces, the sound in the air. If your goal is financial freedom, imagine looking at your bank account and feeling the weight of security. If your aim is health, see yourself running upstairs without losing breath, feeling the strength in your body. Specific pictures give the mind something to grab onto. Affirmations work best when they are present tense and personal. I am becoming more skilled. Every day is more powerful than I will try to get better. I choose to focus on solutions is stronger than I won't be negative. The mind listens to certainty. It follows strong, clear statements. Weak language creates weak results. It's important to combine the two. See it and say it. Each morning, take a few minutes to close your eyes and walk yourself through the life you are building. Speak the affirmations that match that vision. This practice doesn't just inspire, it trains your thoughts to run in the direction you want. Just as a muscle grows with repetition, belief grows with repetition. Some people dismiss visualization and affirmation as wishful thinking, but they misunderstand the purpose. These tools are not about avoiding work. They are about preparing the mind to do the work with clarity and determination. When you can clearly picture a destination, you make decisions that pull you toward it. When you declare your values and abilities daily, you strengthen the resolve to act on them. The truth is, life will constantly try to distract you, discourage you, and make you forget where you're going. Visualization and affirmation bring you back to center. They remind you of your purpose, reinforce your identity, and keep your mind fixed on the outcome you want. And once your mind is fixed, your actions will follow, your habits will align, and over time, the picture you held in your head will become the reality you hold in your hands.